Just a bit under 2 months ago, the world saw the canonization of the first millennial saint. On September 7th of this year, Carlo Acutis was recognized by the Catholic Church as a saint, commonly referred to as the patron saint of the internet, or the first millennial saint, or my personal favorite epithet, God's influencer. Being true to being a millennial, he had a strong interest in computers and technology, which he used for another interest of his, faith. A devout Catholic, Carlo was heavily involved in his parish life, serving as a religious school teacher and even creating a website to document miracles. Tragically, Carlo was diagnosed with leukemia and died in October of 2006. Since his death, the Catholic Church has worked towards canonizing him, recognizing his work and several miracles he was testified to have performed. In reading and learning about Carlo and the legacy his life has left, I am touched by his pure love of others and his strong faith and conviction. But I am left asking myself, what does it mean to be a saint, or someone who is righteous? This week, we read the story of Noah and the flood. The world of Noah is described as being corrupt and lawless, understood by the rabbis to have been filled with obscene violence and baseless hatred. Seeing this, God decided that the world must be destroyed and begun anew. They tell Noah to build an ark and that they would establish a covenant, a brit, with Noah and his family, from whom the entirety of humanity is descended. Noah was chosen because he alone was righteous and upright in a world filled with violence and hatred. The Torah teaches us, Noach ish tzadik, tamim haya bedorotav, et ha'elohim hitalech Noach. Noah was a righteous man, upright among his generations, who walked with God. In the typical rabbinic fashion, Rashi teases out from this verse the idea that Noah was righteous among his generation. But had he been born in the generation of Abraham or any other biblical ancestor, he wouldn't have been much significance. Despite this, I think there is a vital lesson that we can learn from Noah: how to be righteous in our generation. I believe that what Noah teaches us is that we do not need to be saints, or to use the Hebrew phrase, a tzaddik or a tzedeket. What is expected of us is not to be the pinnacle of righteousness, but rather to strive for righteousness in our lives and in our communities. Turning to the rabbis now, let us learn some tips for how we can do this. Focusing on the words righteous and upright, the 12th century Spanish rabbi, Ibn Ezra, teaches us that these refer to how Noah was righteous in what he did and that he was upright in his heart. Thus, Ibn Ezra teaches us that to be righteous is to be righteous both in act and in thought. Number 2, in focusing on the latter part of the verse that Noah walked with God, Radak, a 13th century rabbi, also from Spain, there's a lot of them, explained that despite the pressure to conform to the broader society around him, Noah held firm in his beliefs. Radak teaches us that to be righteous is to hold fast by our convictions, no matter how hard it may be. Through comparing Noah to another of our ancestors, Abraham, Rabbi Lord Jonathan Sachs, Zichrono Livracha, teaches us an aspect of righteousness that Noah did not embody as much as Abraham. In comparing the account of the flood to that of the destruction of Sodom and Gomorrah, Rabbi Sachs draws our attention to the fact that Abraham debated with God to save the cities if only 10 righteous people could be found. Noah, however, didn't even try. This teaches us that an aspect of righteousness is to care for those who are different from us, to care for them, and to act on their behalf. To quote Rabbi Sachs, time and time again, the Torah emphasizes that we are judged by how we act to those who are unlike us. And as the Torah says itself, "Ve'ahavtem et hager, ki gerim hitem be'eretz Mitzrayim," You shall love the stranger because you were strangers in the land of Egypt. It is certainly not easy to live up to these ideals, to live a life of righteousness. Noah demonstrates this for us. He strove to walk in the ways of God and to be a righteous person, and indeed was. But even so, he had his shortcomings. Nevertheless, I believe that precisely because Noah was righteous in his generation, we too can be righteous in our own. We can be righteous through our actions, through our emotions and thoughts, through holding firm to our beliefs, even in times when it is not easy to do so. And we can be righteous by extending these traits to both those close to us and those far away from us. The millennial saint, Carlo Acutis, sought to do just this. He saw the divinity in which others were created, welcomed them in, and sought to help them however he could. To conclude, I leave you with the words of Albert Einstein. True religion is real living, living with all one's soul, with all one's goodness, and all one's righteousness. Shabbat Shalom.